Welcome to a new episode of How Are You Now?
How are you now?
How are you now?
Good, and you?
Not so bad.
All right.
You got it right. Woo!
Yeah. So, welcome everybody. This is Dean,
This is Tiara.
and we have with us as our guest today,
Our first guest.
episode 2 with Chelsea Ireland from the
Hi.
No Subject podcast.
Woo!
So, Chelsea, I've known you for a couple of months now.
Right.
Not in person. We haven't met yet, unfortunately, even though you just live on the other side of the pass.
Right.
So
Very little away from you, but no big deal.
This time of year.
This time of year with when the snow, I have to go by chains.
Yeah. When the snows melt, we can meet up.
Absolutely. I told my sister that she
sounds
lives.
like a love song. When the snows melt.
My sister lives in a part of Canada that gets snow like taller than me. So that's pretty much, if I don't visit her by October, I'm probably not going to see her until summer.
Yeah.
So,
And she's a train conductor.
and she's a train conductor. That's right.
Oh my goodness.
So, Chelsea,
Yes.
you, like us, are into Letterkenny.
Oh, very much.
Tell us what got you started watching Letterkenny and what kept you watching Letterkenny.
Okay, so actually, the first time I ever heard it, and it like a little bit annoyed me, but here, let me give you the background of that. It was about 11:30 at night, and I had to get up for work at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh.
And my husband came back from doing his football podcast and just put it on and made it a little bit loud. And you know how they go like rapid fire so fast, and
Yes.
they quip, all that kind of stuff. And I was just like, God damn it, just let me go to sleep. And then it just started like getting a little bit interesting. And I was like, fucking turn it off now. I can't sleep. I want to get into it. And then like I forgot about it for a couple weeks. And then on Facebook, there was that bit about the stakes going around, and I watched it and I was like, holy crap, this is hilarious. And then I came back to, and showed it to my husband. And he was like, that's the same show that I was watching. And I was like, well, let's watch it then. But like what kept me watching was the humor in it. It's very smart humor, but it's like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We were just talking about it's dumb humor, but it's done cleverly.
Right.
Yes.
It's dumb humor done cleverly.
The vocabulary, it rivals, person who got whatever the top score is on an SAT. Not me, obviously, because I cannot even think of what it is.
Pretty boys.
Ferda.
Ferda. So yeah,
But yeah, it's such a good show,
it is,
and it's so easy to watch too.
Yeah.
it is. It's super easy to watch, and you know what? I know it's popular. It's super popular up there because they have a live show that they go and do across the
Great nation of Canada.
the different
Provinces.
The
Great White
provinces.
North.
Why couldn't I say provinces? Oh, my brain is breaking. So yes, they go across all the provinces. I don't know why they just couldn't they get to Vancouver, make a hard left, and come right on down.
Probably
to Seattle.
because of whatever it takes to come into the U.S. these days. And I don't blame them, because I wouldn't want to come into the U.S. if I didn't have to.
Should I get you a tissue, Sally?
Oh, he'll have one in his purse. Or maybe his clutch.
I look forward to the day when they can come across and do their Letterkenny live, because
Oh, very much. That'd be so fun to go to.
it's a fun show. It's a fun show just recorded, so I can imagine that watching it live would be
Even
amazing.
better.
Yes,
Because then you'd even get like the outtakes and stuff.
Right.
exactly. So this episode for both of us kind of plays. Well, actually, I guess for all of us, it has a special meaning to us.
Yeah, it does.
It has a special meaning for me, and that I just had my super soft 50th birthday party, and Andrew, your husband.
Yep, I threw him a super soft 30th birthday.
Awesome.
He's just a baby.
So wee
Yeah, he
baby.
He's 30.
I'm gonna be 40 in a month, and I feel ancient. But he's 50.
Chelsea,
so.
are you 21 yet?
Me, I'm 28.
Oh, another tiny baby.
Yeah.
But that's okay. So that just that tells you how much Letterkenny. I mean,
It spans ages.
Yeah,
Yes.
The humor just is universal.
Yeah, my cousin and her husband, I think, are probably a little bit younger than you, and also big fan. Her husband is in the military, but he also, as a hobby, plays hockey. So I think that's where he got turned on to it.
Nice.
So I expect to have him on at some point to chat about that.
I would love that.
Yeah. So
Those hockey episodes later in
yeah.
what is it, season 2 or 3? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when the Rockettes.
Shorzy shows up.
Yes. Oh, and Shorzy. Oh, Jesus,
Shorzy.
Shorzy.
It's fucking embarrassing.
But like we keep saying, we're not talking about that episode now. That is in the future.
So real quick, let's recap episode 1. I didn't expect you to rewatch episode 1 since we're going to be talking about
I've
episode 2.
watched episode 1 like 7 times.
Oh yeah. So recap of episode 1. It was basically pilot episode. It was an introduction to the major players. You got to meet Wayne, you got to meet Katie, you got to meet Derry. You met Jonesy and Riley and Gail and McMurray and I'm missing somebody. Squirrely Dan.
Squirrely Dan.
And
Glenn and
Pastor Glenn.
the Skids.
The Skids, yeah, and that was a very quick introduction to the Skids.
Right.
Aside from the dancing, so we only
Well,
really,
they kind of showed that Stuart has a relationship of some kind with them.
yeah. So I mean, I
just know
think
that they know each other.
the only name you hear of them is Stuart. Stuart.
I think so.
Stuart.
In the first episode, for sure.
Yeah, maybe Rold, who is the little guy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Which I think is a funny name. For
Rold.
Roald Dahl. So I mean, that's the only other Rold I've ever known. So there's got to be a reason for that. Hopefully,
I read online somewhere that it could be short for like Ronald.
Sure.
when you're on a lot of coke and meth.
Rolled.
Yeah.
Rolled. So anyway, let's. So
that was episode 1.
On to episode 2. So that's episode 1. So episode 2. Title of this episode: Daryl's Super Soft Birthday.
Absolutely.
Just kind of recapping this episode, going through the highlights. It starts off with the hockey players and Modine's talking to Schmeltz. And Schmeltz, as I found out, that's a term for
Rookie hockey player.
Exactly, for a rookie. So it's not his name. So yeah,
Right.
when I first heard it, I figured, oh, that's his
That's
name,
young.
Schmeltz.
Right.
No, that's a term for a rookie hockey player. So and they treat him like shit, kind of almost how they treated Derry like shit in the first episode.
Yeah.
And a little bit how they kind of treat. He's kind of the he's the one that they kind of give grief to of all the people in the Hicks. So I think Derry is the low man on the totem pole in the Hicks. Schmeltz, low man on the totem pole, and the hockey players.
Yeah, I can see that.
The Skids. I'm guessing it would be Rolled.
Probably.
There's a whole bunch of them that we don't all know the names of. And then the Christians. Well,
You don't know much about them yet and
no.
what they're going to be.
Aside from Pastor Glenn, he kind of takes up all those spaces.
Right. And he's crazy.
He is. But, Jacob Tierney, he's played by Jacob Tierney, along with Jared Queso, who
Created the show.
Letterkenny. So they are the creators of the show. And I think both of them bring a lot of flavor to that show. And I don't know what background Jacob has, but it seems like that Jared Queso, who plays Wayne, has had a lot of there's not a lot of Canadian actors because there's a lot of crossover. Stuart played Alfie in Supernatural.
Yeah, because all of the stuff filmed in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of crossover in a lot of the Canadian TV shows, and I'm sure that some of those that we've seen in
That's also like the same kind of stuff where it's like a whole bunch of crossover in the UK too.
yeah.
Oh, and get this. I just found this out. Tierney has won a Canadian Screen Actors Guild Award for Best Writing twice from Letterkenny.
Awesome.
Yeah, 2 different
Nice.
episodes from Letterkenny.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
Very.
Yeah, it's a well written show. It's a tightly written show. I mean, you can tell that there's a lot of riffing. And I don't know if there's been some improv in their background because
Ooh, yeah.
it seems a lot improv-y, where there's a lot of snappy. I don't know. It would seem to me that would be hard to write.
Yeah.
My guess is they like sit around and riff with each other and then write down the best parts of the things they come up with when they're just bullshitting with each other, and that's what ends up in the show.
Have you ever wondered if any of it is just like genuine and natural, and they just filmed it?
I'm sure some of it is.
Probably, yeah.
Some of it is. I know that there's some of the, if you watch some of the old, the
YouTube.
original
Yeah.
YouTube episodes that was done between Nathan Dales, who plays Derry, him and Jared Kiso filmed a lot of those same scenes early on and just put them on YouTube. And it was just between them. So things that would have been Riley Jonesy were done by them in those early YouTube videos. So I think there was a lot of that, but I think that Riley and Jonesy,
The actors
fit
are perfect for it.
They
Yeah.
fit that dude bro jock style. They're really good at that. I know, and I know they have to practice that. I've seen some of the outtakes where they're just doing that riffing back and
I
forth.
can't even hear them when they do that. I can't process the language that fast.
Top titty
Whenever
cities,
I
bro.
watch Letterkenny, I always have to have the subtitles on.
Oh, that's a good
I didn't even
idea.
think about that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Doing
And it
that
helps
next
you
time.
follow it a lot better.
It does. Yeah, that would, I think I'm going to do that from now on. So yeah, that's
And he hates when those are left off.
my daughter does that. And
I do it too.
I understand it, Sometimes you need it, especially for a show like this where there's a lot of fast riffing back and forth.
Fast-paced dialogue, yeah.
It's pretty crazy. So let's kind of get into the episode. So we start off with Riley and Jonesy with the rookie, kind of giving.
And that's where they talk about my favorite catchphrase from Letterkenny.
Which is?
Big city titties, boys.
Oh,
City
big
titties.
city titties.
And I don't know if it's the first place where we hear Ferda, but
I think it is.
Is it?
Ferda boys.
so that's from what I know, that's the first place that I remember hearing it. They may have said it before, but I don't
think
recall.
so.
And then pitter patter, and then we get it. That's just the very intro part of it. Then we get into
And I love that, like, when that scene is done and it cuts back to Wayne, he just has no words until it just cuts to Letterkenny.
exactly.
Yep.
He's just kind of dumbfounded. It's
Well, because he was sitting at the bar listening to them while they were doing that. That was kind of the whole point. Like, he was like, I overheard this the other day, those dumb hockey players.
nut sacks. So yeah, and yeah, I think we've all made that face.
Oh, yeah. I've made that face to myself talking. And that just shows you how awkward I am, bud.
Oh, I'm a teacher. I make that face all day long.
That's why you're one of us.
Yep.
Yep. So yeah, so that's when we get into it's the second scene right after that we start talking about Daryl's super soft
Because
birthday.
he comes over to the house and tries to talk them into not doing it this year.
Yep. Yeah, and so
Tradition,
yeah,
though.
it's
And
tradition.
then we talk about awkward dairy boners to O Canada.
Oh,
You think you've got an awkward boner.
awkward boner.
So yeah, they explain how Derry got his awkward boners during O Canada in grade 9. When you're in 9th grade, sometimes you can't contain it.
A slight breeze.
Awkward boners are everywhere in high school, man.
Oh my god.
Middle school, too.
I mean, I don't I don't know.
I mean, you know better than we do.
Well, you know what? No, I'm sure. I don't know how you guys have had to have noticed them going
Oh,
through.
yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So, how do you?
It's the same thing with like noticing a girl's bra strap. It was just like,
Yep.
you can see that.
Or when a girl's not wearing a bra.
Or, yeah, definitely.
Big city titties, boy.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the big city titties had to wear a bra. Like, even at that age, these big
Very,
city
very
titties.
true.
Yeah. So yeah, there was no talking Wayne and Katie out of the super soft birthday.
Right.
That was there was no way that
You
and-
don't fuck with tradition dairy.
exactly. That was going to be a
Hard no.
So there was always going to be the super soft birthday. And so the other thing that we get from this, after the end of the first episode, Wayne's back to fighting. Mm-hmm. So
Right.
we jump right into getting into
The line of people waiting to challenge him.
How are the rules are here these were the rules before, and here's what's going to happen now. So,
And do either of you think that it's always weird that Derry's eating a yogurt at the table?
Right? We kind of mentioned that in
every
episode
single
1.
time they are sitting at that table, it's Derry eating a yogurt.
yeah, I don't know why.
Even Katie made a comment about it at one point. She
In
was like,
episode
"We don't
1
have
and
any
episode
yogurt." And
2.
he's like, "Oh, brought one from home."
Yeah.
Why don't you eat it there? that was the first episode. Yeah. So dairy and yogurt. Dairy yogurt. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Dairy and yogurt.
Yeah.
Probably.
So he's eating his yogurt while Squirrely Dan's going through. I've gotten so used to calling Dawn Squirrely Dawn that it's hard for me to. I have to think about. Okay, it's Squirrely Dan. Squirrely Dan.
Yep.
So Squirrely Dan is asking Wayne. He goes, "Are we back to doing what we're doing?" And he says,
It's a doc with a boner drag weeds.
we know Wayne is back to being ready to fight again. The first one up is Sled Ted, he's Sled Ted because he likes fixing sleds and
riding sleds and talking about sleds.
He just really loves sleds. So and then he became the toughest guy because he beat,
or he believes he's the toughest guy because
he beat Basic J.
Yes.
And then after that is Radass who beat Brains
And Lord, the back acne on that guy.
oh my god.
What was it? Shitty Wolverine?
Shitty Wolverine.
That's probably my favorite little
That's-
backhanded compliment they've given.
Oh, that's not it, Shitty Wolverine.
Yes, Shitty Wolverine.
So we have Sled Ted, Radass, and Joint Boy. Those are the three that they talk about that they're going to be fight. So they start off Sled Ted.
And in a laneway, don't come up the property.
Right. No degens on the property. And this is also, and so then right after that, after we kind of get the rules for the fights, we jump into the boys, Riley and Jonesy, won't come up on the property because they're afraid of Wayne now
Because at the end of season 1, they were like, "Okay, so we respect you,
Yep.
and we don't want to fight you anymore."
Yep.
Welcome to fucking Letterkenny.
Because they had seen that fight. Yes.
So reference back to episode 1. Welcome to fucking Letterkenny. Don't fuck with Wayne. He's the man.
Toughest guy in town.
Toughest guy in town.
And it's very important to him.
We learn about Katie, and she's
Put some clothes on. Not my forte.
Yeah, well, that's a little bit later. But
I love her.
Yes.
Yes.
And we were talking about this. This is like the first time that there has been that I can ever recall on a
non-monogamous main character.
Yeah. And it's where
on a hit TV show somewhere.
Yeah.
At least
And
that we
it's
see.
kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
It's normalized, you know.
They don't make a big deal about it.
Right.
Like in later episodes, it kind of centers around it a little bit in a couple of episodes.
Right.
But other than that.
And so, they won't come up on the property because they're afraid of Wayne. And that, of course, Katie's not having any of that. And she gives them the
If you make me walk up the laneway again, we're having babies.
That's my favorite threat ever. Like, if we were still dating, I would totally use that.
oh, would you now?
We're having babies.
We're having babies.
If you don't cut that shit out, we're having babies.
Yeah. Because that takes me in. I've had a vasectomy, which
true.
means
Very
that
true.
I've had my vas deferens.
If I ripped open my ball sack trying to do a skateboard trick, I'd be more worried about seeing my vas deferens.
Not your Florida State seminal vesicles.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. The first time that me and Andrew watched that, when they said Florida State seminal vesicles, he lost it. And me not being like a big, that kind of sports person, I was like, what?
I don't get it. Yeah, I didn't
Worried
actually.
about seeing my seminal vesicles.
Or like the Florida State Seminole vesicles.
Like, I knew that he was playing off the Seminoles. I got that, but I didn't know college
Yeah, me
team or
either.
something like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, and it's funny because whoever hears anybody talking about, so you've got they're talking about tearing open your ball sack and the seminal vesicles and
Your
the
accessory glands.
and the accessory glands.
I thought it was pretty funny when I said Florida State seminal
I
vesicles,
missed
and nobody laughed.
I bet to do this
Well, you don't want to go too kooky with accessories.
the accessory glands, but yeah, the seminal vesicles.
I love the way they.
One of the things that I appreciate that is they're being anatomically correct.
Yes,
yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. Is they're telling actual science. It
Right.
just is silly.
They're getting that sexual education out there.
I was totally thinking that too, Dean, but she stopped too, so she might not have heard it.
I got to say, that's what I appreciate about you.
Oh, is that what she appreciates about me? Better dial it back there about 20%.
So yeah, you got your vas deferens, you've got your accessory glands, you got your seminal vesicles.
Now you're not going to be able to separate the Florida State from that.
Oh, exactly.
Ever.
Yeah, when I had my Super Soft 50th, they had a sign up saying "Go Florida State Seminole Vesicles."
Yep.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, we will have to, when we get around to actually putting this up and out and everything, we'll have to redo some pictures from your birthday party.
Oh yeah.
So,
Totally.
Because I think we got a picture of that sign.
So it's funny because I tweeted them and I got a like from from the Letterkenny Twitter. It was pretty shortly after. Then recently, I got a from Stuart Tyler Johnson, who it was a sign. So
you're just famous now. It's okay.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to start wearing that some Gap Dream.
Walk around smelling like purty girls.
No, Derry, that's for girls.
That's for girls.
I just love how Derek's like, oh, that's too expensive. I just use sunscreen. Was it Copper Tone or something?
No,
it was
Banana Boat.
Banana Boat.
Banana Boat.
But in his defense, Banana Boat smells amazing.
I've never even heard of Banana Boat.
It smells like
Yeah,
coconut
it's a
oil.
sunscreen. It smells like bananas.
Yeah,
Smells
coconut.
great.
It's like coconut oil and bananas.
Banana.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it smells tropical and beautiful. It's what I use in the summertime.
Yeah, I've got some love potion number 9.
That's aftershave. Yes. That is true. It's my favorite cologne aftershave thing. Well, the only real one that I like. So he keeps wearing it.
So yeah. Anyway, so we have our chat about Brute and CK1 and Gap Dream.
And see, CK1 was like really popular when I was in middle school. So like them talking about this, and this is only a couple of years ago that this episode was filmed. I was like, please tell me that CK1 isn't still like such a big thing in their
Brute
little town.
was a big thing when I was a kid too. So
Yeah.
it's like it circles around.
So funny to me.
So yeah, it's. So,
Those kids these days.
So
these
yeah, they're all
30-year-old
they're all-
kids.
I think what's hilarious to me about it is they're just these hicks sitting out in the barn talking about aftershaves and
Fragrances.
colognes and perfumes, and then going over talking about Radass's back acne,
Bad act.
Right?
bad acne. It's hard to say.
Bad back acne.
Oh,
So yeah, so then right after that, they have a short thing where they're trying to plan the birthday party. Katie's trying to get the horse, and they can only promise a donkey because the year before the horse came back drunk.
Yeah.
But then they get into the fight with Radass, Shitty Wolverine.
Yep.
The thing that I like about it is the end of the fight was the no look punch reaching in to grab the cigarette.
Oh yeah, that was beautiful. It was like
That was very
I'm just gonna.
flowy. It flowed well.
I thought the fight was great. I would not want to fight Radass with that back
No, God,
back
no.
acne.
And he kept smacking himself and just
Yeah.
he was awkward.
I love pain.
And I like awkward usually, but he was awkward.
Yeah, that's different than awkward.
No, that's just weird.
Yeah.
Because I'm awkward. I know awkward.
That's
Exactly.
just odd. So yeah, then we get into back to the continuing of the party planning. Katie has given Riley and Jonesy a request to go pick up the booze, and of course they fuck it up.
Yes.
And then back to the barn with the boys, talking about how chirpy Radass was.
Yeah.
He hadn't heard something so bad since Warp Tour Good Charlotte. They said not very good Charlotte.
Not very good, Charlotte.
No FX. Yes, FX. And I think that's the part where we start finding out more about Squirrely Dan's affinity for Katie.
Yes.
Yep.
Is that what you appreciate? I need you to dial
Is
that
that
back.
what you appreciate about me?
Oh, look at you, Ground.
That's probably my favorite one. Oh, there's the ground.
Oh, look at you. Hey, Ground. And then they start talking about the next fight, which is Joint Boy.
Joint boy.
I think my favorite part of the Joint Boy talk is his entourage.
Got this big entourage of guys, bald-headed, bearded dudes, what looks like a whole bunch of surly uncles.
Surly Uncles is
That's the name of your some kind of cover band.
That's the name of my sex tape? No, wait.
No.
That's a different show.
No. See, I was going with
Paul and Storm.
Paul and Storm. Yes. Name of your blank cover band.
Right.
Right.
Surly Uncles is the
Right.
name of my Letterkenny cover band.
Sure.
Oh, God. Is it agricultural music?
Down to the
It
ag
could
hall.
be. and so that's when they start discussing, well, do we need to have some backup there? And they talk about the ginger. And the ginger is somebody who's talked about. There's a lot of lead up to the ginger.
Yes.
Yes.
When they bring up,
Like you heard he fucked an ostrich, right?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
the ginger fucked an ostrich, allegedly.
Yeah, that urban myth will come up over and over again in this series, this season.
They said only in case of emergency do they break out the ginger.
Yeah.
Because we don't need that. And then finally we get to the actual Super Soft birthday. They kick off the Super Soft birthday. They've got all the tiaras and the fruity drinks and the cupcake station. We find out that Wayne doesn't care for cream cheese frosting.
Throws it at the side of the barn.
He says cream cheese. No. It's cream cheese. No.
No.
He's in
but
some
what I
cases,
said-
he's such a 5-year-old.
Yes, and what I said when watching that the first time today was that would be like if I cooked you a vegan meal and then didn't tell you until halfway through. That is exactly how you would react.
No.
Like if I didn't tell you it
No.
wasn't real meat,
No.
and you started enjoying it.
Hard no.
But as they're kicking off the birthday party, Joint Boy shows up with his entourage.
And of course, Joint Boy has a truck that is just piling out smoke.
Oh my God, that was probably one of my favorite things because it reminded me of high school and my sister and me.
Oh my God. Yep, just smoke coming out every orifice.
Yeah. And then so Joint Boy tries to give.
He tries to be
give him a
reasonable.
pass.
Yeah.
he
Tries to
says,
say, hey, you did
me
this
a
thing for
favor
me. Yeah.
By the guy who kicked my second cousin, Alex. So it turns out Alexander, the guy from the first episode who was
Kicked by Angela, the ex-girlfriend's boyfriend.
Right. He said, "You did me a favor." He goes, "Yeah, I didn't do you any favors because I don't even know you." He says, "So we doing this?" So then they have the fight.
Well, no. And I think like one of the most important parts of that is he looks back at Katie and Katie nods.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And I'm like,
No, she
she's
she
running
shakes her
this
head. Like
place.
she wants him. Yeah, she wants him to fight.
yeah. Well, yeah. First,
Yep.
he says, "Can I? Is it okay if I handle this?" You goddamn right you can.
Yep.
So, fight happens. I mean, and I think in real life, Joel Gagne, who plays Joint Boy, I think is an actual MMA fighter in real life. So
That makes it even better.
yeah, he's definitely. I think he's definitely a wrestler, but I think he was also an MMA fighter. But
But he's got legs like tree trunks.
oh god, yeah. What, deciduous or
What's the ones down in California? Redwood? No.
Palm trees.
Yeah, redwood.
Well, they have palm trees in California
Yeah,
too.
it's true. But I was thinking like the 200-year-old, like you can drive a truck through them.
Yeah, those are the old growth redwoods.
Yes.
Joint Boy is huge, and yeah, he's everything. You look at him, he's everything that as advertised.
Yes. And in our first episode, Dean asked me if there was anyone that I had met so far that I would fight, and immediately, because I'd forgotten, we'd watched 1 and 2 right back to back,
Yep.
and I was like, Joint Boy. But my version of fighting probably does not involve fists, or maybe I don't know. I'm just
genital
saying.
fighting, genital boxing. So we'll get to that. So
I know, but he's attractive.
so
I'm just putting that out there. He looks like the dude from that show you watch that I don't watch. I know that
There's a
doesn't
bunch
narrow
of
it down.
those.
Doesn't narrow it down. I know I was about to say one of those superhero shows, but again, doesn't narrow it down. The guys from Prison Break.
Yes, you're talking about goddamn, I can't remember his name.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
I don't feel bad then.
He
was in Prison Break, and now he's in one of those shows.
He's
I never watched Prison Break.
I didn't either. I just remember because he was pretty.
No, I know who you're talking about. He's he's
now.
on Legends of Tomorrow.
That's the
Yeah.
one.
And I can't remember his real name. But in any case, but yes, he does. I can see that. Yeah, he's a bucket of muscle. So that's what he is. So they have the fight.
And
Wayne,
he's the only one that actually gets shots in, too.
Oh yeah. They were just about even until the last punch or two.
Yeah, they're holding each other, and he's like, "You fight, you hit me. No, I'll hit you."
Yeah.
And then finally, I think he got winded. You smoke that much weed, I think you're going to get winded.
I would assume so, yes. But I do have to say,
but Wayne smokes a lot of cigarettes.
And this was the part that got me really interested in watching more of the show.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that we talked about before was what got you into the show. And
Right.
for me, it was burnout after graduating from college, and Dean was watching it. I wasn't paying attention until right around this scene. It seemed like kind of silly to me that they were fighting over who was the toughest guy in town. But coming up to him afterwards, after knocking him out, did you?
You want to come to a super soft birthday party?
And that's such a Canadian thing, too.
I know.
It's like, hey, I just knocked you the fuck out. Want to come to a birthday party?
Right. It's so, and that was what made me go, okay. I love that. That's my family right there.
Yep.
And then after that, they join in. Him and all the surly uncles. They join in with the cupcakes and the drinking, and then you see Derry and Squirrely Dan off to the side, and Squirrely Dan saying, "They just really do this for themselves, not for you."
Well, it's great because that's really the first time anybody really mentions Wayne and Katie's parents.
Yeah.
That their parents would never let them have birthday parties, or whoever they lived with didn't let them have birthday parties. So they had to go over to Daryl's birthday parties to be able to have fun like that.
Yeah. So they they go over.
Which makes you wonder, are they like Jehovah's Witnesses?
Are they orphans? Are they there were so many questions.
Well, because I know that they had talked about their uncle who left them, and that's like a different episode. So
Right.
Sorry if I'm getting ahead of myself
That's
here.
fine.
You know, their uncle that left them money. So it makes me wonder, were their parents super religious and then died, and then their uncle raised them?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, I don't know. I hope that we find that out at some point. And good thing that the new episodes are out. Maybe we'll find something out in the over the next few episodes about what's gone on. Mm-hmm. The end of the episode is really just Squirrely Dan and Daryl sitting down talking about how much cocaine Squirrely Dan Schneef has done over the years, whether it's been in the rectory or in the library or
Sunday school schneef.
Yeah, or off a cow's teat, and then
and then the thing that Dean has been stuck on since
is this.
Do you know what dick dingers are?
Yeah.
and that's it. That's it. He's they're trying to tell each other that they've done more and more things, and oh yeah, I've done that. Oh yeah, I've done. Yeah,
yeah.
I know what that is. Yes.
I love the long pause. You know what dick dingers are?
Can you explain what dick dingers are?
We
because it's hilarious.
It's yes.
Yeah, I looked at here. I just
looked it up,
I
yes.
looked it up. It's on Urban Dictionary. They
Yep,
actually
yeah, it is.
Margaret talks about it
In the first
episode.
But it's kind of unless you're really like paying attention,
It's-
which I wasn't the first time. I didn't catch that it was in the first episode until watching it again right afterwards.
Yeah, it was because it was almost kind of a quick. It was a very quick throwaway.
Yeah.
But a dick dinger is to ingest cocaine via inhalation off an erect penis, usually by another man,
Oh, after
after it's been in a bum.
yes.
So yeah, dick. That's the number one. On the second one on the Urban Dictionary is dick dingers is the act of two men snorting drugs off each other's erect penises, then having anal sex afterwards.
Oh.
So that's what dick dingers are. So that was a new
Makes
term.
you wonder why Squirrely Dan knows what that is.
Why does Daryl this like
Daryl
super awkward?
Well,
like,
Daryl heard it from Margaret.
Margaret,
I think
right.
Daryl's trying to figure shit. Daryl is
he's trying to be hipper than he is.
He's very naive.
He is. He's adorable.
I mean, with a mother that throws her super soft birthdays every year.
Right. Because
Yep.
she doesn't, he gets a boner if he gets too excited. So
Chelsea,
Yeah.
theories after this episode. What do you what do you so after you've watched episode 1 and 2, what's in your mind about the things that you theories and unanswered questions, those kind of things that really spoke to you?
Well, like I said before, it makes you wonder about Wayne and Katie's parents, obviously.
Right.
Like, where are they? What happened? Like, since they weren't allowed to have birthdays, were they super religious? Were they Jehovah's Witnesses? Or did they just not like throwing birthday parties?
They were throwing hay.
Right. But everybody celebrates their birthday unless you're Jehovah's Witnesses.
True. Unless, and see, that's where I go back to, like, how, if they were orphaned, how young were they orphaned?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it
Right.
said specifically that their parents didn't throw them a birthday party or didn't let them. It's that they weren't allowed to have birthdays at their house. So does that mean, like, in my mind, that could be foster care. It could be, like, and if they got money from their uncle, like, did their uncle pass away and they were able to buy the farm and finally have a place of their own, and that's why they can't. Okay, my brain goes down rabbit holes when it comes to this.
So many unanswered questions.
So many, and all of them are no.
yeah.
Most of them.
I feel like since most likely it never says their age, but in all likelihood, they're probably in their early to mid 20s.
Right. Right.
So they were probably left the farm by their parents. So I'm thinking that right around the time that Wayne was like a legal age, it makes sense that they would die and leave the farm to them.
Yeah. I mean,
But-
it's obvious. I mean, Wayne is obviously hardworking
Yes.
and
Right.
responsible.
And Katie doesn't
And-
really seem to do anything but walk around the house in a bikini.
Right.
I would imagine.
It makes you think, like, were they not allowed to have birthdays because their parents were always making them work?
Could be.
And that's why Wayne always works?
And was the fact that Katie is now embracing the sexiness of not wearing a lot of clothes because the parents made her cover up all the time?
Exactly. So Wayne could have gone one way and Katie could have gone the other.
Very true. Oh, and the other question.
The other
Sorry,
question.
the one that I actually wrote down. What city is the city? They refer to going
yeah.
into the city, but they never say what the city is. And so my question would be, what city do you think it is that's the closest big city to Letterkenny?
Yeah. Assuming that they're still kind of vaguely in the same area as where they actually shoot it. I mean, I don't know what is the big city in Ontario.
Well, I know what the big city is in Ontario, but
Which
that's
is?
Toronto. But they don't refer to it like that. Like, because when the city guys come, they're also like Hicks and stuff. They just think they're smoother Hicks. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't seem like, that's in future episodes too, but
Yeah. That's what when they're called the D-gens.
yeah, the D-gens from up north.
But yeah,
It could be Ottawa.
Oh yeah, it could be.
because driving from Sudbury to Toronto would take 4 hours. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, and I just like Jonesy and
Riley.
Riley. I was like Shorzy. Jonesy and Riley were complaining about having to go to the big city to get the alcohol and stuff that Katie wanted for the party. And they were talking about how they had practice this afternoon and they wanted to get Sammy's beforehand.
Having nappies.
Take a nap.
Sandos.
Sandos and nappies. And if they went into town and got all the stuff, they went all the way to town, that they wouldn't be able to do that before practice. So obviously it's like far enough away that it like would cut into their nap time.
And
But
sandwich
not far
eating
enough
time.
away that it would take all day to get there.
Exactly. So I think 4 hours is out of the question.
Yeah.
But
I mean, 4 hours just one way. So, yeah.
exactly.
So, Chelsea,
Yeah.
who would you fight?
Let's see. I think my first inclination would probably be Gail.
She'd want to wrestle you.
Yeah, she would.
But I feel like I could take her.
Oh, do you? I bet
Yeah.
she's wily.
Oh, well, probably. She probably fights dirty too.
Very dirty.
But I know that I wouldn't be able to take Katie. Katie's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember when she kicked what?
That's later.
Another
Later.
episode.
Yeah, that's later.
That's a great episode too.
Yeah. Katie's awesome. She's obviously learned some stuff from Wayne.
Yeah,
Oh
definitely.
yeah. Yeah,
So-
well, he's the toughest dude. What if she's the toughest chick?
Yep.
Well, I think that kind of
stands to
comes up a
reason.
little bit later too,
Yeah.
but not as much.
True.
Yeah.
So, fine. Oh yeah. What stood out or surprised you in this episode? Anything?
Well, it kind of plays into the whole super soft birthday thing. Like, it kind of surprised me that, Derry's mom would, treat him like that throughout his childhood.
Yeah.
I think
know?
what surprised me about that is and it kind of makes you feel like when they talk about Wayne and Katie being all into it and stuff, like my wonder was, if she doesn't like Daryl, why does she go to all of this trouble to throw this party? And
Right.
so like I don't feel, they enjoy having the party, but I mean, she puts a lot of effort into this.
Yeah, she does.
I put that kind of
I
effort
feel
into
like
my
she wants to
husband's.
put-
I wouldn't
Yeah.
do that for a person who was my husband's best friend just because
Right.
I wanted to have a party.
I feel like she kind of considers him family, but she
Yeah.
just likes to give him shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
it's
Dean
it's
said.
it's kind of like you do with any siblings or people you've been around for a long time that are really close friends that you kind of roast for just for fun.
Comedic effect.
Yeah. It's like it's kind of goes along with I can call my mom a bitch but you can't.
Right.
That would be the kids in my classroom. Actually, other way
Yep.
around. I can talk about my mom like that. I can't call her that, but I can talk about my mom like that, but you can't. That would be more the kids in my classroom.
Yeah, like I can, call my sister a whole bunch of names, but when the girl on the bus started doing it, it broke her nose.
Yes,
There you
hell
go. Ah,
yes.
There you go. So yeah, I would. So I think it's probably a lot of the same. He's family. Squirrely Dan is family, even though they're not really family. Well, they could be, I suppose. From there's lots of second cousins there apparently. So
I don't know, man. Take 20% off there, Squirrely Dan.
That's a Texas size 10-4.
your sister's hot.
I regret nothing.
So
Too fat to run.
so final thoughts before we wrap this up. Anything? What are you looking forward to?
Episode 3.
Everything.
Right?
Everything. All of it.
All right.
Love it.
Fart book.
Yeah, I'm not so. That's probably an episode I wasn't a big fan of.
No, that
But-
episode has my favorite line.
Which one?
I could watch kids fall off bikes all day. I don't give a fuck about your kids.
Yep. That's a good line.
Yeah, that's my favorite line out of the series so far.
So mine is surly uncles and yours is kids falling off bikes.
Yep, I don't give a fuck about your kids.
Agreed. All right. Well, Chelsea, thank you for joining us, and we will definitely
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. We'll be having you back on, of course, as we go through the rest of these episodes. Now that there are 6 seasons available on Hulu.
That's a Texas size 10-4.
Yeah, that's right. Can confirm.
Can confirm.
All right. Thanks, Chelsea. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Peace out.
Bye.